Hi, I'm Jeff Mowatt. A manager who brought me in to provide sales training techniques for his team once told me, "It drives me crazy when my salespeople complain that our prices aren't competitive. How do I get my team members to stop selling on price?" Well, after 30 years of teaching selling techniques to clients whose prices aren't the lowest, I've discovered 5 simple strategies for making your prices less relevant. You and your team members can use them right away to close more sales. Just a heads up, because this last strategy is going to give you the best chance of selling higher priced items when you're selling to senior executives. Okay, our first strategy for selling when your price is higher is know what B2B customers value. When you're selling business to business, remember that customers are not really spending their own money. They're spending their company's money. So whether you save their company a few dollars here and there doesn't really affect them personally. However, customers will happily spend more money on suppliers who A, make them look smarter to their bosses, or B, make their jobs easier or more fun. Make your B2B customers look like heroes to their bosses, or take some paperwork off their hands. Your prices suddenly don't need to be the lowest. Our second tip for selling when your prices aren't the lowest is replace order takers. If customers know exactly what they want and what they need, well, then they don't really need a human to process that purchase. You need an online shopping cart or a self-serve checkout. If your team members merely send out price quotes, you're overpaying them. They can be replaced by an email server. Order taking has no value. When an internet search reveals thousands of buying options, what customers value is an advisor who will aid them to make the right choice. A.I.D is an acronym that I created that stands for A, analyze available options, I, interpret those options based on the customer's unique needs, and D, direct them to a maximum of 3 choices. Massive selection is available on the internet for free, and free means worthless. Meanwhile, making the wrong buying choice is costly. Customers will pay premiums for advisors who help them to make the right choice. Just before I get to my next tip, if you're finding this to be helpful, well then be sure to like and subscribe so that you receive new videos as I receive them. Well, that brings us to our third tip on how to sell when your prices aren't the lowest, and that is tap the convenience advantage. We all expect that the local convenience store is going to charge more for household goods than suburban big box stores. Perhaps customers can source multiple products and services through you as their point of contact, as opposed to having to contact other suppliers, again, making their job easier. It's not enough to just provide those services. We need to draw attention to just how easy it is to work with you. That brings us to our fourth strategy for how to sell when your price is higher, which is create more perceived value. You've likely heard that customers don't buy features, they buy benefits. The problem is most sales reps inadvertently focus more on features than benefits when they communicate. One of the easiest ways I've found to get employees to talk more about benefits than features is to use 2 words more often, so that. So rather than saying to somebody, "We'll drop it off," instead, "We'll drop it off so that we save you a trip." Again, we're enhancing perception of value and we're not working any harder. Well, I hope you are finding this to be helpful. Speaking of which, if you like this video, I think you're going to love my tips. You'll get them for free at jeffsbusinesstips.com. My fifth and last strategy for selling when your prices are higher is create pricing perspective. Remember I said this last strategy was going to give you the most leverage when selling to senior executives? It's that senior executives should be less focused on cost and more focused on potential return on investment. Whatever you charge is going to sound like a lot of money if we don't provide context of how that expenditure is going to be used. For example, training team members on how to improve their selling and service skills can sound like a lot of money, but that cost needs to be compared to the positive revenues generated by one team member gaining one lifetime repeat customer. Or another way to look at it is, what if each employee prevented one customer from defecting? Well, the cost of that for most of our clients more than pays for any investment in training. So it's a multiplier effect. In other words, The more you talk about return on investment, the less your prices will actually matter. Well, the bottom line is the manager who hired me to provide sales training techniques for his team members realized they didn't need to focus on lowering their prices and profitability. They just needed to shift their thinking into the extra value that they do provide and how they can convey that. How about you? I wonder if your team members could use a refresher on how to create more perceived value over focusing on price. I'm Jeff Mowatt. I hope you found this to be helpful. And if you like this video, I think you're going to love my 30-second tips. You'll find them for free at jeffsbusinesstips.com. See you next time.